Fellow Tank Blitzers, it's a Littlefinger. If you're new to channel, please hit that red subscribe button. If that button is no longer red, thank you for having already subscribed. I wanted to do a slightly different video here, and so I thought, how about the top 5 rarest tanks in the game? So I had to come up with some criteria. Using blitzstars.com, you can see here I did a reverse search. Basically, to show up on this list, a person had to have played a tank 50 times over the past 90 days. And you can see here, looking at the list, we've got the Emil 1951, T5485, and Centurion at the top of the list. These are all in testing right now, as is the STG at the bottom. The Firefly Saunders there was available this past spring, and I don't even remember it coming for sale, to be honest with you, and I could not get my hands on it, so that one is certainly going to be very rare. The other 5 here I do have in my garage, and so I wanted to share a game in each one of those with you. So coming in at number 5 is the T2020. This tank is currently for sale in the garage for an overly priced amount of gold. Yes, this tank is very similar to the IS-5 and to a whole host of the Soviet heavy tanks. So, second time back in the store, still 10,000 gold for this tank. And I think you've all seen reviews from many other people saying don't, just stay away, it's not worth the price. And quite honestly, there's good reason for that. You know, because it is so much similar to all of these other tanks, there's really not a whole lot of benefit to having this one in your garage. So it's got the exact same gun as the IS-5, the 122mm D25TA, doing 1893 damage per minute with 221 in pen, 400 alpha damage, very nice shell velocity at 1400. The T20 does have a slight advantage in terms of aim time, 2.63 versus 2.9, and has 1 degree additional gun depression, 6 degrees versus 5 in the IS-5. The downside, yes, and there is a downside, is you've got less mobility than you do in the IS-5, 2 kilometers per hour, as well as 20% reduced power to weight ratio, which means you, even going at a slower speed, it's going to take you longer to accelerate. On top of that, the armor around the turret is super weak compared to all of the other Soviet heavies. I mean, 145 on the front of the turret compared to 201 on the IS-5, 250 on the Object 252U, 220 on the IS-3. So even though you've got some nice spaced armor there around the turret, you're going to get penned just about all around. The other downside being pike nose, there's you can't really do an effective job side scraping off of buildings. So, you know, it's no wonder that this is a rare tank. Anyone that probably spent money on it probably has not played at those 50 battles to qualify to get into the viewership, making this one of the rarer tanks seen on the battlefield. And as we pull around the corner and get tracked, and no repair kits, super bad move. And then not sure why the rest of my team decides to follow me here. You know, let's take different angles, and while we need to focus fire, you know, coming at everybody in the same direction, it's just a trading hit points really at that point, right? So this tank had 64 people over the last 90 days that played it 50 times or more. Yeah, 64 people. That's not very good in terms of sales numbers there for Blitz. I mean, I hope that the sales numbers were higher than that. It just, I think, goes to show you that people just did not pull this out of their garage to continue playing it. But, you know, you see here in this game at 3,900 damage, it can certainly hold its own. Just it's really difficult to bounce shots, much harder than in some of the other Soviet heavy tanks. Alright, so number 4 on our list is the Hafen. Yep, this is just above the STG, which has 66 people testing it. The Hafen only had 48 players play this tank more than 50 times over a 90-day period. Alright, so here we are, Desert Sands. You can see we're even bottom tier in the Supremacy game. And there's some great commentary towards the end of the battle that just goes to show you how rare this tank is. It's got such a strange design. Big front drive wheels sloped backwards, but if you'll notice on the turret, it is really narrow on the front. And you also have some really nice turret armor on this tank. As far as the Hybrid Nation tanks go, you've got the Hafen, you've got the Edelweiss, you've got the Dracula, the Y5, ELC, and the M4 FL10. And of all of those medium tier 7 tanks, the Hafen has 120 millimeters of turret armor. So if you can get hull down on this tank, you do bounce a lot of shots. And, you know, we're coming in here, and that T-49's missed us already. He's hiding behind that dune. I don't really want to go take him on one-on-one. So we're just going to try to keep separate from him and focus on the Y5 that we just mentioned. And we've taken him out, and now we just want to make sure that we are staying focused, pointing forward at the T-49, and he shoots us for 495, but not before we can put a couple shots into him. And the Leo here finishes him off. And as we drive on around to the flank, you'll notice some comments from that T-49. Bro, what is that tank? And I knew he was talking about me, because obviously we had been dueling on the other side of the railroad tracks there. But you can see we've got nice speed, 52 kilometers per hour, so it moves really well for a medium tank. And you've actually got some, you know, halfway decent pen numbers at 145, doing about 190 average damage. So 2289 is your damage per minute. But like I said, I really like this in a hold down position, 7 degrees of gun depression. You do bounce a lot of shots with that rounded front and such a small turret to aim at. So quick game here. Obviously no HE pen that was worth a shot. We'll get one more in for good luck. And very quick game, just over 2200 damage. But one of my favorite of the Hybrid Nation tanks for sure, and I don't think it gets quite the amount of love that it deserves. It is a really fun, it's a pretty good little tank there. Coming in third, just under the number 2 there, is the PZKP-FW4 Hydrostat, with only 23 players having played 50 battles over the past 90 days. Alright, so here we are in the PZKP-FW4 Hydrostat. This is a tier 5 German medium tank, and it is smooth. The gun on it is fairly accurate, but it just drives so nice. The acceleration's great, top speed is good. It does have the exact same gun, the 7.5 KWK 40L48 that the PZ34 has. So that has in common all of the same weapon handling statistics. At 1318 damage per minute, it's right in line there with the spike that you might be familiar with at 1359. It's got the same pen and alpha number as that tank. And I just threw it out there because that's obviously a free tank that was in the most recent event. The interesting thing about this tank, I find, is you do get some strange bounces, especially off the rear of the tank. I don't know if that's just because of the way it's sloped or the amount of armor it has. It really just does not have much armor. 20 mil on the back, 50 on the front. I just don't know. Maybe it's just because of the rounded nature of it. I don't know. But I just found that kind of ironic. And we've just found ourselves into a shooting gallery, really. These tanks are trying to cross out into the open, and we've got so many open shots. You see the accuracy of the gun here. That Stug there, we got when he was turned a little bit, so that first one didn't pen, but the second one does. And I'm not sure why our team, two of those guys, just decided they would just YOLO right into their team. I guess that's the nature of the beast here at Tier 5. We try not to trade shots, and that's my motto, especially early in the game. So we're just picking these guys off as they cross through the opening there. It's kind of a joke, to be honest with you, but you can see that just the gun on this is super, super nice. And we're going to finish this SU off before he repairs that track. Must have been out of repair kit because it looked like everyone was injured inside that tank. Alright, so we're going to turn on around here. I know that Stug's still on the A20s over there. Can we get a shot on the move? Well, we hit him, but it didn't pen. He's missed us, so we can back up and get one shot here. Lovely little fire set there. We're going to finish him off. And now we're not worried. We've saved our hit points, and we've got these little one-shot, two-shot tanks. And we're just going to come in, circle behind here, and hopefully keep driving. Come on, push forward, push forward. Let's finish this A20 off. And just like that, 5 kills, 2,027 damage. This is a really nice, smooth riding tank. Obviously not a tier that a lot of people play, which is I guess why it doesn't get played that often. But again, there you can see just nice damage, easy game. 15 shots landed just like that. At number 2, we have another hybrid nation tank, the Vulcan, tier 7 heavy. Alright guys, so here we are in the Vulcan. This tank is so damn ugly. It's almost attractive. Look at this thing. Yeah, all of that spaced armor everywhere on it. Not too afraid to go up against those smashers and KV2s in this. But, you know, the Hybrid Nation does have a lot of really good heavy tanks. You think the Lycan, the Nameless, the Lupus, Gravedigger, Smasher. That is a nice list of tanks. And so, arguably, one could say that this is probably the weakest on that list. And damn if this gun isn't troll. And you'll see what I mean in this game. It's got a 110 millimeter gun, and as we nail that Nashorn bad and do no damage. Okay, good start, good start. 1784 damage per minute without any equipment. Your pen is 180. You're doing about 350 average damage. And that's right in line with just about all of the heavies here. And there is an example of why you drive with your ammo bar out on your iPad. Because as I was trying to switch over to HE, that Nashorn got behind cover. And then when he did come back out, my shot did not go where I aimed it. So, there we go. We finally get our first HE shot to go. 430 damage. But what could have been that first shot on him and that missed shot. And there we go, bouncing a KV2. This game has started out really rough for us. The Nashorns come back for some more. Finally get a shot to go where we're aiming it. Alright, so as you can see, the armor on this is actually not too bad, and because of all of the spaced armor, you know, you do get quite a few bounces in it. But obviously, you know, when we look at it here, what do we have? 35 players who have played this tank more than 50 times. It's not one of those tanks that's really enjoyable to play. As we miss this shot here, the one spot we could not hit, we did. It's like, this game, how much damage did we miss out on? But for me, like, the Nameless, it's just a great hold down tank. It feels like it has better mobility than this tank. You know, obviously the Smasher, the Lycan. There's just, I don't know, this tank just seems to be the weak link, really. You know, we lost some time making a decision on which way to go, and so we miss out on the kill shot here on the Annihilator. But anyway, a decent battle nonetheless. We did over 2,000 damage, which is not bad for a tier 7 tank. And as you can see, we only took one shot, so not a lot of repair damage there either. It's gonna net us 47.9k in credits. That was good for level 1. So the bar is pretty low there. And finally, one of the rarest tanks on the battlefield is now the Sherman 5. This is a British medium tank that used to be in the tech tree. So this tank sat after the Valentine and came just before the Sherman Firefly, before update 5.5 relegated it to becoming a collector tank. So a lot of Shermans out there in all different forms and fashions here on the British line. So not sure why this tank doesn't get played more often. It moves really well, and it does have a really nice 75mm gun. Damage per minute is higher than any of the other tier 5 collector tanks, and you've got less than 2 seconds aim time. The dispersion's a little bit high at 0.38, and the pen is a little bit low at 106. But that's okay. With a high DPM, you can run the calibrated shells. But you do have 12 degrees of gun depression, which is beautiful. So we want to get this tank on the hills and maximize that advantage. So here we go, peeking up the hill. Let's see if we see anybody here. Nope, don't look like they came this way, so let's go ahead and grab D while we're here. The interesting thing I thought, you know, about this tank is that compared to, say, like the Hydrostat, which is another of the tanks on this list, or the Anku, or even, you know, the Spike, this tank, the win rate's kind of not where you would think it would be, a little bit lower. So I don't know if that's those people that still pull this tank out of their garage that had it and kept it and didn't sell it for gold. But look at all this red as these tanks come up the hill. Oh gosh. Let's try APCR. Oh, that's still a lot of red. Still a lot of red. Obviously those tanks are sloped backwards coming up a hill, so very effective armor. But look at our wonderful gun depression here. 12 degrees. Leo is going crazy like Leos do. And we'll get a shot into him, and you know, we're just gonna work this ridge line because it's a perfect spot for us. We can take our shot, we can pull back and just double check that no one's pushing us, and look for some more shots. Now they've all gone down to the beach, so it's time to go ahead and just move on in here. You You know they're all going after that AT-15. Lovely gun depression. Yep. Not sure where that shot went, but these things happen. We get a return favor on a shot that I did not think would go in. We've got 3 caps to their 1, so things are looking pretty good. Just using this ridgeline and our wonderful gun depression. And, you know, again, this is just another one of those smooth driving tanks, and I think the only downside really is the the penetration values. But we're getting the sides and backs of a lot of tanks, so I was aiming to try to track that guy. I don't think this tank is really suited for that. Probably should have just tried to aim for the backside and get a pen shot in. They've got 4 guys now on the beach here, or 3 of them. Now 2 on the beach, so let's save that T1 for last. And just, putting this gun and this damage per minute here to work, we do end up capping that game out. However, we've done 1413 in damage, 30,000 credits. So you can see there why that one might be the least played of the collector tanks. So I hope you enjoyed that list. Let me know if you've got any ideas on other videos like this. And with that, guys, have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.